We want to get to your weather. Our meteorologist, Chris Mulcahy, is here. We have so many things to talk about because I know the drought monitor latest numbers come out on Thursday.
Yep.
And then other parts of the country are getting too much water, like the San Antonio area.
Yeah, wow, look at that.
That is a live picture right now of the Guadalupe River.
Yeah, the Guadalupe River, people probably didn't even know that unless they're from Texas or been to Texas, but is now a common name just because of what happened with that tragic Mystic campground last year. And this is now insane that this is now 2 years in a row that they've had this exceptional flooding from the exact same type of situation. You had a thunderstorm that popped up, pretty much just sat in one place and it just dumped, because there's a possibility of a thunderstorm dumping up to 5+ inches of rain per hour. It can get that extreme, but yeah, you can just see how it's completely overwhelmed this banks. Second consecutive year, near 15 inches in the past 48 hours, and this is yet again that they have flash flood emergencies. And Jane, you know a little bit more about the area because of your husband, but this is also known as Flash Flood Alley.
Yeah, I mean, we lived in South Texas for a few years.
Okay.
My husband is from, he was all over the place, Austin, Dallas, spent some time in San Antonio. And so, yeah, we are definitely familiar with that area. As a matter of fact, I believe one of his friends was not the Mystic Camping River flood, but years past, it was also the same river whose house was destroyed, and I believe he lost his, dare I say, mom.
Yeah.
So yeah, deadly, forceful.
Yeah, I believe
there
there was one in the 80s that was really bad, and there was I think another one that was lesser in the 90s. But I also want to use that as a real big point here, is that you talked about the 80s, the 90s. Well, we've done 2 of those back to back now. That's the staggering thing. We've done 2 of these historic events. A flash flood emergency is not something that you typically see here. I've been here for going on 8 years. Carlene and I almost started around the same time. And were you here for Florence, or was it right after?
I just missed Florence.
Okay.
I came right after.
That's the first time in my career I can honestly say that I remember a flash flood emergency like while I was on air during my shift. And that happened in Chesterfield and Union County for the amount of rain that we saw there. Florence broke records for the amount of rain, and tropical records on the eastern side of North Carolina, and even affected us. But we saw flash flood emergencies there, and I remember I've never seen this many. There's over about 15 of them during Helene. And once one pops and another one pops, you realize that this is a really dangerous, deadly situation. When you see a flash flood warning, it's bad. It can go up to considerable whenever there's something that has an emergency. So tornado emergency is one, flash flood emergency. That means it's not just, hey, it's happening, but it's happening and people are dying or could die. And I don't know any deaths that have come from this. And the good news is, Jane, that the areas like this and along the Guadalupe River are usually alerted. The campground was an anomaly just because they built where they probably shouldn't have.
Right, which, it still keeps coming up for discussion and how to rebuild, and the hard lessons learned because of what happened at Camp Mystic, but yeah.
And this also brings me up to my next point, since we have the drought. Texas earlier this year was actually under a considerable drought. It was bad. It wasn't a good situation. But now they are pretty much out of it. But the problem is, you can see around me the consolation prize. So for us to overcome the drought over the next 3 months, we would need 26 inches of rain. It's not a good outcome.
Oh, no.
For us to overcome the drought in 1 month, the National Weather Service gives us a 0% chance, because that means you need 19 inches of rain. We have never received 19 inches of rain in a given month here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Of course, it's happened many times other places, such as up in the mountains and the East Coast. That's the thing about Charlotte, is we're kind of like in that nice little sweet zone. We avoid the worst of the hurricanes. We avoid the worst of the snow like the mountains do, and we usually avoid the worst of some of the flooding events that they can potentially see. Not saying that we won't. It's just that we usually don't see the extremes. We just kind of see the max to a certain point. But speaking of, our drought not maxed out anymore. We are seeing some slight improvements. There's a lot of numbers on the screen, but I try to make this as simplistic as possible, that whenever I outline a box in green, that means things have improved. So walking through this, the only areas that are really not a concern right now is we have western South Carolina over near like Alligator Cove and the Outer Banks up to Corolla. Everything's fine right there. And you also have a little sliver actually just north of Asheville. So good news for them. That's just dry. So that's D0 on the drought monitor. And once you get up to D1, that's officially a drought status. So that means that 95% of North Carolina is officially under a drought and 86% is under drought in South Carolina. Things have pretty much stayed the same there, but we did bring the numbers down slightly in South Carolina. The bigger improvements is actually here in North Carolina, that we have actually severe drought down to 79%, extreme down to 39%. That's actually great because a severe drought was almost near 100%. So we are starting to chip away at it. My best recommendation to Mother Nature is just give us more thunderstorms, but don't give it to us all at once. And we've already seen actually some flash flood warnings on and off across our area. We had some major flooding that happened close to Elkin, North Carolina. That's just north of Iredell County. So that's been an issue in general. And we also had a flash flood warning earlier this week in Lincoln County. So it can happen. And it's this time of year that those thunderstorms, if they don't move, they cause flash flooding. And flash flooding is whenever water rapidly rises in a 6-hour period. And that is exactly what can happen at any given point, but that's not going to happen in the near term. I'm going to ask you guys to stall real quick because my computer did an update.
Okay.
And
Let's talk just a little bit about the haze. I got 2 pictures for you.
oh, you did? Okay, nice. Okay, that's perfect.
We got this is Minneapolis right here. See the you look at it right there.
Oh man, that is thick.
Isn't that gross? And then if you give me 2 seconds, I'll show you what Toronto looks like in a second.
Yeah, and I have images once this loads up of outer space, which is pretty crazy.
Outer space.
Yeah,
From outer space
We
to-
went to our
yeah,
satellite.
Oh, yeah, those are always impactful.
Give me a second. Give me a second.
See,
We'll see
hey, no
Toronto here.
problem.
Bad air
Second.
quality, though.
Boom. There's Toronto. So it doesn't look as bad, honestly,
Toronto.
here.
Yeah, it's a little bit
in
better.
In Minneapolis.
Yeah. Well, yeah, now that those hazy skies they just seem to be shifting now to the Midwest.
And this might not look bad right now, but once you get to sunset, it's going to really turn that orangey color.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to be crazy to
Makes
see.
for a pretty sunset.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's going to be the big change that we're going to see is that smoke eventually is going to lighten up in certain areas because literally it's being sucked up in the atmosphere. It just stays there. That we've had a little bit of haze here, and we actually had an air quality warning here closer to home because of the smoke, but indirectly. So here's how it all went down. All right, we can go back to graphics. Thank you for the stall. I appreciate it. Yeah, all of a sudden, it was like right when I got in here, it did this like an 8-part reset.
Update? Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
just like, what do
yeah.
you mean? I've
Love
never seen
that.
8 parts. Okay, but we got through it. This is incredible. How many people are truly under this air quality alert? Usually it's a little bit more under the magnifying glass. Like for us, it's literally only Mecklenburg County. But you have the entire state, and we have time. I can go through them.
Sure.
Rhode Island, Connecticut, Massachusetts, over in New Hampshire, New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin. The entirety of the state is under a air quality alert. Meanwhile, here close to home, just Mecklenburg County. And the reason why
what?
is not because of smoke. That would be more widespread for us. We have a layer of smoke above our heads, but what's actually happening is it's blocking everything. So it creates what's called a capping inversion. And this all the time will bust a forecast for a chance for thunderstorms to pop. Picture like a bottle of soda. You shake it up. If the cap's fully on there, you don't have to worry about it. But if you shake it up, so that's the unstable environment, and loosen the cap, it turns into a mess. And think of the mess as just pretty much a mess on the radar. But in this case and scenario, instead, that cap is trapping the pollutants. Here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I think I might have this graphic in here. Of course, we are the more densely populated area right here that compared to all the counties surrounding. The ozone is great when it's well above our heads over in the stratosphere. Of course, back in the day, we were talking about how there was a big hole in it. It's still not doing great. But at the surface, when we have emissions from vehicles and sunlight and the heat interact with it, you can have a high level of ground level ozone, and that becomes unhealthy for sensitive groups. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now. And it's the smoke that's aiding it and trapping it at the surface. That's the only reason why we have an air quality alert. So it's not directly the smoke mixing down. It's just instead capping it down here. Speaking of the smoke, this is from 2 days ago. This is Ontario, Canada at 3 to 5 o'clock in the morning from our satellite.
Ooh.
It looks like a bomb went
I was
off.
going to say, looks like a war zone.
Yeah, it looks like, yeah.
And that, again, that's like updating, of course, like every, I think it's like a 30-minute fragments that you're seeing here. But it's incredible how much you can see burning. And I'm also going to show you a different look. So this says the sun is rising up yesterday from 6 to 4. And you got to look really closely. Do you see just above Michigan? So that's Ontario, if you are good at your geography. Mm-hmm. Those little plumes that are coming through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is the fire. Actually, let me see if I can pull up a.
I have a Michigan. Hold on. I have Mackinac Bridge. Hold on. Give it to me.
Mackinac, by the way.
Mackinac?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things. It phonetically reads Mackinac, but Mackinac. Yeah, it's the Mackinac Bridge. So
Look at that.
you would
Isn't
not.
that
Yeah,
ominous
yeah.
and
You can see
scary?
the sign.
Terrible.
Yeah,
What are they
that's
driving
crazy.
to?
That is crazy.
To Cape Fear.
Mackinac Bridge. I lived in Michigan. We never made it up there just because actually staying on the other side of the Mackinac Bridge and the drive. So I regret that. But no, the Mackinac Bridge is huge. But that's insane. That looks like fog. But
Yeah.
that's smoke.
That's smoke, terrible.
Yeah, but there was an image of some guy just calmly filming from inside a train as they had flames all around them.
Oh, man.
We had that on our show. So if you guys can dig that for you guys later, that was one of the crazy things I've ever seen. Let's see. I don't think I can circle it. Let's see if I can do this. Because I want to show you exactly where that smoke is. Let's see. Here we go. All right. So right up in here, if you look closely, those little plumes, that's where the wildfire is coming from. So it's feeding everything. But then if you look at some of the darker grays that are kind of in within the mix of those clouds, that's also the smoke that's mixing down. I have a pointer tool here. So right in here, see the darker colors? That is all smoke coming from these fires. So that's why the air quality is so spread out and so bad up in this neck of the woods. And then if you talk about the Mackinac Bridge, literally that's connecting, I was looking at two different screens, right there. So it connects those two little points to the UP. So that's that smoke to the northwest that's coming directly from there. And we're even getting a little feed of some of that smoke that's right down here. So the atmosphere oftentimes will hold on to the smoke. It doesn't just disappear when it's of this magnitude. And some refer to it as like the earth smoking a cigarette. It just fills up the atmosphere and it doesn't go away. This happens with volcanic eruptions, that it just stays up there, completely just changes the environment. And sometimes the smoke can actually turn into what's called condensation nuclei. It's tough to get out, and that can actually lead to a more widespread rain in certain deals. I don't think we're going to see that here, but yeah, it's just a monster system, and it's going to continue to affect our weather in the north and the northeast for quite some time.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
I got
I know.
some more pictures.
Okay, let's see it.
You want Lady Liberty?
Yeah.
Wow. That now, when we say hazy, that's hazy.
That's hazy.
That is hazy. Oh yeah, Lady Liberty does not have a good view today.
No.
Mm-mm.
Sure
Has anyone ever been on the Statue of Liberty? I've seen it. I've never gone.
I've never
No,
gone.
never
I've
been
seen
in.
it.
Yeah,
I've
people
never
can't go
gone.
in it anymore, right? They shut that down.
Is that
Or-
a thing?
Is that
true?
really?
Back in the day,
Can't
you
go up to the crown?
you used to be able to go up and do it. I feel like we have to look that up because I don't want to spread misinformation.
Yeah.
Well, while you looked at, I also got another shot of Toronto.
Okay.
This one's a little bit scarier than
Believe
the
it
one
or
we had
not, that
before.
is
Look at that, Chris. It
Toronto.
looks icky,
Ugh.
icky, ew.
Icky, sticky,
Yeah.
gross.
Let's see. Okay, yes, you can. They shut it down for a brief period of time, so my information I think is 20 years outdated. I just I held on to
You
that.
weren't
I think as a
completely
kid.
wrong.
Yep, and I was just like, nope, they never opened it up again.
Oh.
But yes, and you can get tickets. All right. Well,
So that's what happened.
do not go to me for any New York information. Maybe go to Megan Bragg. She knows a lot more about it. Have you, Megan? Just walked in. Have you been inside the Statue of Liberty?
Yes.
Yes.
When I was little.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. So that would have been.
No, they have not opened it.
They haven't opened it.
They have not opened it
I don't
back?
think so. I don't think it's.
See, okay, so this is
Okay,
conflicting
so-
information.
All right.
Did they say it's back open?
Well, it's per
He
per
said-
the I literally was lazy and just did the
AI
AI.
video?
Yep, March 30th. You must climb 126 stairs up to the crown. So they did open up. See, Megan's the same way. It's not just me. We had it in our brain. It was shut down for a long time. So yeah, I guess you can. There you go. You can reserve
All
your
right.
ferry today.
See,
But no,
It was a verify
there.
kind of collab with
Wow.
weather.
I just verified with Miss Verify. This is a big deal. Going forward though
Anyway.
for our forecast, how did everyone fare yesterday? How'd you like just typical summer day?
Typical summer day.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it
I
too.
splish splashed in the pool. It was a great
You
time.
splish splashed
I
in the
splish splashed
pool?
You
in the
splish
pool.
splashed?
Sure did.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
a
bright
great
and
time.
sunny. I think I didn't do too much.
What's a splash splish look like? You have
Splish splash. You know.
You do it
splish
backwards.
well, you have
splash.
splish splash, but then what about a splash
Splash,
splish?
splish.
Can you do that? Is that
That's a backstroke.
It's much
Splish
that-
splash
okay,
is-
it's a backstroke. Okay.
Breaststroke and then
Nice.
it's backstroke.
Well, the reason why I ask is it's really funny because it was 94 yesterday. We chilled down to the 80s, but this is how our seasons work. You get desensitized to it.
Yeah.
Because I remember
Right.
that we hit 95 for the first time, and everyone's like, "Oh gosh, this is awful." But once we popped up near 100, we're like, "Yeah, 94, no big deal."
95 anytime.
It's great.
See, that's all it is. You just have to pretty much, you
Little
can't swim, jump in the water. So far we've hit 31 90-degree days, back to the graphics, but I have a high of 97 today, and that's significant because if you look at it, we've actually only done 97 plus 4 other times. So this will be in the top 5 for the warmest days so far in 2026, and tomorrow is going to do the same. So highs across the area, 97 to 99. That's also another reason why I asked. I was like, how did you fare yesterday? Well, today is more humid, and today is going to feel a little bit hotter. I think you could reach as much as 100 degrees for a heat index, so just keep that in mind. Our lows also going to be soupy, just like a steam room. Definitely this morning walking out, you can feel that moisture. Yesterday was actually the first time we've hit 69 degrees in July, so that was a nice break, but we're actually going to be back there before you know it. We're back to around that 70 degree point. As far as our rain chances go, I put a quash on it, which, by the way, another tangent. Welcome to Mr. Tangent over here. I called it a squash, and I guess you can use that, but we learned this in our commercial breaks, that quash is to put an end to it. Squash is where you put more of a physical end to it in person. Is that right, Megan?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
What?
Megan is my verify
know,
for
I
these
didn't know
things.
that.
We're going to quash,
Vocab.
end it.
Posh means to end it the literal sense. Squash is like physically like you're squashing it.
You're squashing it. Got
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
Like a bug. Got it.
Like the game. The
So-
sport, squash.
Yeah, because I said squash, and I was like, is that a thing? And then Ben Thompson looked it up. And we looked at more than one, just the AI source. So, like, Ben looked it up. He does much better than I do looking up the Statue of Liberty. But anyways, our future cast is going to get a little more active by tomorrow. And tomorrow we have an isolated storm or two. But moving towards the weekend, check out Saturday. We see a lot more storm activity. It's not a guarantee that you're going to have storms, but it's that classic storm pops up, another one pops up, they can merge together, and it's called a cluster of thunderstorms. That's a possibility heading into the evening, and then it'll eventually erode after the sun sets. So for your weekend, mid-90s on Saturday with a better chance for rain than what we have the next 2 days. Sunday, a little more widespread rain that could jog into the evening. I think that's a better chance of evening storms. 92, and looking at the long-range forecast, we do actually have some relief in sight. That today and tomorrow are by far the hottest, 97, 98. After these days, we have lower to the mid-90s, but here's the treat I have for you. It's not a 7-day, it's a 10-day too.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, thank you. Great music.
A lot of days.
86, 87, 88 is what I have for day
Yes,
8,
bring
9,
it
and
back
10.
down.
And we have a bunch of different outlooks. I look at the 6 to 10, the 8 to 14, the 3 to 4 week outlook, and
my.
all of those are trending either average or slightly below.
Nice.
So that's not a guarantee, but at least it is showing that we don't have any really big heat waves on the way. This technically isn't even one, just going to be a quick little blast back into the top 5 hottest, and then at least we're getting a little more July-like and even more June-like by the end of it.
Yeah, love it. Heads up, tomorrow is the Chris Brown Usher concert tomorrow and Saturday
Ooh.
at Bank of America.
Oh, yeah.
It's tomorrow, Saturday night. So Saturday night might be the risky.
Man, Usher's
show.
back in town?
Ursher.
Ursher?
Yeah, side by side, side to side. Yep.
Yeah, my friend went there, went to the concert last year, and said it was one of the best she's seen. So,
Ooh,
so I'm
really?
just saying. So if you have the treat, I won't tell her that I said Usher instead of Ursher. I was trying to be a hip Usher fan. So get me off camera. I embarrassed myself.
Well, we have the musical director for the show coming in tomorrow.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, yeah, I'm going to ask how they deal with inclement weather.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Because, you know, they got to put
part
these
of the job.
shows. It's part of the, yeah, they got to prepare for the shows.
I'll be a fly on the wall for that.
Yeah.
What's that?
She gets the coolest interviews.
The musical director for sure.
I mean, it's really cool. It's, you know, gives a different
A little behind the
perspective.
scenes.
I love
little
behind the
convo.
scenes.
Yeah. How
Well,
does
because
that
like
work?
when like there was a old show back in the day, How It's Made. Like just
Yeah.
How-
just
yes.
like essentially this is how it's made. So like that's awesome.
Making
Just
the
concert
band,
edition.
all these things that you
making
love.
making
Yeah.
shows, making Ursher and Chris Brown
Ursher.
look good.
Yeah.